Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday to you, April 10th, 2025. I've got all your stories for your rush hour ride home. The big story today in the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni trial is that there's some rumors floating around that Blake may be floating a settlement, and she might be soft launching that through this article we've got. I'm going to share it with you and what a PR specialist has to say about that. Also, are you familiar with chicken jockey? It is a trend that is taking the world by storm. If you have a son ages 15 to 20, maybe you understand this trend. I'll share it. And then another update on Clayton versus Gabby. I said we didn't have any more updates, but you're going to be surprised that, hold on, I'm going to say it out loud, Nick Viall actually makes the right point, which is we should have some empathy for Clayton with all he's been through. So I'll share that. Plus, White Lotus star Jason Isaacs comments on the State of the Union. That's right. He's, Harry Potter star of, again, this current season of White Lotus, plays a greedy, rich guy on White Lotus, and he comments on what's going on in our country. Speaking of which, the stock market, was there insider trading? Looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene bought the dip, $250,000 worth. So assuming she bought it at the right time, that went up 30 times the amount. So what is that? Quick math. A lot of money. That's what, $7 million right there. Not bad for a House of Representative, right? Representing us. Are they? More thoughts on insider trading. Who else is doing it? Will we get the receipts? And will we expose them? You're damn right we will. All these stories and more, it's happening right now on The Rush. Okay, you guys know here with pop culture, we like to keep you informed so we all feel cool. We know what the young, hip Gen Alpha, Gen Z are up to. And chicken jockey is a new phrase that's taking the world by storm. It's from the Minecraft movie. The Minecraft movie is huge. If you aren't familiar, it is just crushing it at the box office, stars Jack Black. And let's just let the news, I always love when news covers things like this because they do it with proper voices. So let's listen to ABC News talk about chicken jockey.
It's the latest rallying cry for millions of moviegoers.
Chicken jockey!
Those two little words sending teenage fans of a Minecraft movie into a frenzy, resulting in screaming, popcorn throwing, and soda flying through the air. In at least one case, the police have gotten involved, escorting some of the offenders out of theaters. So what is a chicken jockey? The official definition, a child zombie who rides a chicken.
What is a chicken jockey? It's when a child zombie rides a chicken. Again, is there any point to this? You know, culturally, who's in charge? Things just happen, and that's what I love about them. There's a movement out there. But some people are going to these movies. And by the way, this is reason number 7,000 why I stay home and watch movies at home now, because I like audience interaction. I like it when we clap when the thing happens and cry. But then this is like, I don't need to wear a rain jacket. You know what I mean? I'm not at the front row of some, a concert where I need to worry about getting sprayed with the gun. But here it is, a guy named Colton Connolly, TikTok going viral after he shared what it was like to be in the movie theater as Jack Black yelled chicken jockey. Have a listen to this.
I made the mistake of going to see the Minecraft movie on $5 Tuesday movie night.
Oh yeah, and by the way, never go to discount movie night. That's the truth. If you can afford to, go to the movies with the nicer seats. It usually prices out the debauchery.
And I knew it was going to be a little bit crazy. You know, I've been online and seen the memes. Chicken jockey. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. A little bit of that. But this was so much worse. 30 dudes came in. They all knew each other. They had air horns and confetti cannons. We didn't even make it 15 minutes into the movie before the manager came out, paused the movie, and told everyone to shut up or else he's sending everyone home.
Oh, They had to get the manager out. You never want the manager doesn't want to do that. First of all, the manager doesn't want to be managing the local movie theater. He comes home smelling like popcorn. He's trying to romance his lady and she's like, you buttery slob, but hey, maybe he brings home some Reese's Pieces. By the way, if you've never put Reese's Pieces into your popcorn, you ain't living, all right? You get your Twizzler into your Sprite, you get some Reese's Pieces in your popcorn and you have fun. But either way, watch this. I'm going to share the raw clip from that movie theater. I'm just so glad I wasn't there. This is absolutely insane. Confetti bombs. Somebody brought a live chicken. Yes, we have a bird flu epidemic, and somebody brought a live chicken to a movie theater. Watch this. Now, there's a guy riding another guy, thrusting on him, by the way, which is fine. Do what you want to do. With poultry, with a chicken in his left hand right there. Apparently the security took the chicken, but there they are. Maybe they brought the chicken back to the farm. So this is a cultural moment. Now, you don't want to be stuck in the movies like this. Obviously, this is a nightmare. But watch what's going down at McDonald's. McDonald's, in their kid menu, they're giving away Minecraft toys. And I guess there's one really special one. Here's the moment where a McDonald's employee gets the prized prize. And of course, it says he got fired for this, but have a watch.
Okay. Come on, he knows. Oh, he knows. Wait.
And then I got the guys, they go crazy. He got the good toy. And by the way, this is actually funnier to me. This is the moment where a guy records himself opening. He doesn't get the big toy, but he gets a noticeably good toy. And then these other dudes in the background clap like they're watching someone hit a nice putt golfing.
No. Potion? All right, potion's pretty cool.
So by the way, those are strangers. This guy didn't know those other guys. They're uniting. And again, I know they're saying boys will be boys can lead to very toxic and bad behavior. But moments like this, it's heartfelt. Oh, you got a good toy. It's bonding people, just like when they had that Pokemon Go game everyone was running around. There are good moments. Then there'll be the people who ruin it at $5 movie night. A little bit of both. Either way, I don't frequent McDonald's, but I'm thinking this afternoon, I should go and see if I can get one of these toys. Follow me on Instagram at DNeils, or the Rush Hour with Dave Neal on Instagram, also DNeils on TikTok. Follow me there, and I'll post my opening and see if I can get one of these good toys. I don't have any confetti bombs to go off, but a boy can dream, right? A boy can dream. All right, let's do this. We're going to cover Nick Viall. It must be that time of the year where the stars align, because he and I have the same opinion about something. Now, a broken clock can be right twice a day, and right now you actually see a moment where, surrounded by the snarkiness of his podcast, because they do feed, and they have like solar panels that feed off of snark. Aside from all the snark around him, he actually maintains the right point of view. That coming next. As you guys know, we shoot the podcast live with the Patreon watching. So if you want to be a part of that chat, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Bruce in Oregon, longtime Patreon member, moderator, has his own great YouTube channel, says, I just went on my front deck to look for the flying pigs since Nick Viall finally has a reasonable take. No flying pigs, but again, broken clocks are right twice a day. Here he is responding to Clayton Echard, the beef between Clayton and Gabby, as these other ladies want to take the low-hanging fruit and shit on Clayton. He says, come on, the guy's had enough. Have a listen.
Kind of going back and forth, which I guess she went after him, saying he looks like a toe and his dancing videos will make you run, and he responded by calling her a bully.
And by the way, that's Katie Maloney, who is a star of Vanderpump Rules, making fun of Clayton. And again, no one's had more green lights in their career than Katie Maloney. Basically, anyone who stars in Vanderpump, just be happy you are where you are, because gosh, what a lottery ticket they got. For what? And I'm not going to knock her for making sandwiches. Good for her. She has a sandwich company now. That's a good blue collar business. We love sandwiches. But Clayton's trying his best. Leave the guy alone.
And right? Am I recapping this right, Sierra?
He said he's being bullied by Gabby.
Okay.
She responded with you literally outed my sexual activities on national television for millions of people to hear without my consent.
It's okay.
And then he responds by posting their DMs.
He's posting DMs.
And again, this is what makes the Viall Files podcast insufferable. They don't share the DMs. They don't share the source material. They just said, well, she said this and he said this and he said, so he didn't share their DMs so much as he shared the proof that he apologized to her in depth 2 years ago. He wanted to get on the phone with her. He wanted to make it right. He did all these things privately. He didn't do it to show off. He didn't do it for any of these reasons. But now, 2 years later, as Gabby still seeks retribution for how she's been wronged, and let's all be fair, the only reason Gabby mentioned that was because she got called out for being a mean girl.
He posts their DMs from 2022 and 2023 where he's there? Like, it's basically him just being like, you are coming after someone who has like over and over again apologized for their actions. And like, so you're just doing this to be vengeful. But like the posting of the text.
Yeah, he could have just said that without posting.
By the way, no, you don't. No, that's not true, Nick. You share the DMs because she's attacking him. She's the one bringing her 4 times as large audience onto him. She brought this up. He's defending himself. He's the victim here. He might not be the victim of some grand crime or some big attack, but in the tic-tackiness, calling balls and strikes, he is the victim defending himself. I don't need any Vanderpump Rules alumni to say it any differently.
Yeah. He's like such a little... And his dancing videos are the cringiest things I've ever seen. So he should be put on blast for that. Don't do that. Stop doing that.
Boo. Shitty take from Katie Maloney as she just sits there in a pool of snark.
Yeah. This man has had maybe the worst experience on reality TV.
Thank you.
Period. Like, I have some empathy for Clayton. I mean, are you familiar with his story at all?
No.
The guy hasn't had one W yet.
Not one.
Maybe you have to start being like, what's the common denominator? Him.
No.
Victim blaming.
Some of it is truly bad luck.
Give
Okay.
me an example.
What's the worst?
So then she's then slight pushback by her boss, Katie Maloney's boss, Nick Viall, and she goes, okay. But I mean, you just look at her. Look at the way she's sitting. She's leaning back, arms crossed. She looks miserable. She's sharing snark. I mean, just goddamn.
Well, one, he answered a DM from a random person.
All right, and then he shares the Laura Owens take, how Laura Owens put his life through hell, and she goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And it's like, that shouldn't even matter. If you're calling it as you see it, he's just defending himself from somebody who smeared him on an extremely large podcast. It's like, sorry, Clayton finally doesn't want to take the high road. Defending yourself, setting boundaries, that's okay in my book.
Like, she could have said way worse things than like, he looks like a toe and that his dance videos are cringe.
It could have been worse, says Viall Files producer. She could have said so many worse things. Well, I guess we should just let that happen then. I guess we're totally fine with it. Case closed. It could have been worse. I mean, imagine if the roles were reversed. He could have called her worse things. What are you talking about? This is ridiculous.
Is it maybe rude? Maybe. Was it maybe true?
Did he need to respond to it? No.
Did he need to respond to it? How rich? Just extremely rich to victim blame this way.
Possible to think that maybe like she could just say like, my bad, I'm sorry your feelings were hurt.
Exactly.
But also like, grow up.
Yeah.
Like why do men always need to be coddled and handheld through life? Have empathy for them.
This is so funny. Why do men always need to be coddled? The dude literally just said, you're bullying me and I don't accept that. Do better. Get over it. He tells her to get over it. Now he needs to be coddled. Golly. Katie Maloney has the worst take I've heard so far about this.
He's a white man. He's going to be okay. A straight white man is going to be just fine.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, good. And at least Nick goes, okay, good. We're going to do that card. When you start bringing gender ideology into a conversation, you've lost the point and the plot. When Gabby started doing that, as a straight white man, your position of power, over. Because Gabby's got all the power here. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, you want to go to Jiffy Lube. Maybe Clayton doesn't get sold the extra filter and they try to sell it to Gabby because that's what they do. They target women. That's what they do, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not saying Jiffy Lube in particular, but you go to get your brakes done. Next thing you know, they're like, well, we need to fix the wiper fluid on the thing. And it's like, okay, thank you. I got to call my dad and be like, am I getting ripped off right now? The point being is privilege exists in different ways, but Gabby Windy is full of privilege. And by the way, so is Katie Maloney. The fact that she can sit there as a reality TV star, make sandwiches on Melrose or wherever the heck her company is, and say this guy, and then the producers here, gosh, they're so, the only person I respect in this conversation right now is Nick Viall and this woman right here on the left who knows not to share a bad take, because I haven't heard her say one thing, and so far it's way more right than Katie Maloney. All right, let's move it on from this mess. Golly. I mean, because I feel like every 5 seconds I click and she says something worse. And look, I'm not sharing this to say, oh, go show her hate. I'm just saying if I was sitting right next to her on the couch, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Do you know anything about what you're talking about? Your take is just horrible right there. Well, but it looks like she has a Celsius energy drink next to her. So at least she's good at that. She chooses good drinks. Okay, let's move it on. Let's go to this Blake Lively story. Okay, just going to read the title. Forlorn Blake Lively breaks cover far from Hollywood as insiders reveal new private battle and creeping regret over Justin Baldoni lawsuit. I'll share a little bit of this article, and then I'm going to share what a PR person says about how this may be a soft launch preparing for a settlement. All right, so they talk about the fact that she's got her bombshell complaint, the lawsuits and everything. It's coming, it's going to take up their entire year. A whole percentage of her life is going into this. He countersued her for defamation, asked for $400 million. Blake is striving for normalcy in her life, but the past few weeks have been incredibly challenging. It seems like every move she makes is now under constant criticism. She feels like her entire life has been turned upside down. Upside down, boy, you turn me. Anyway, inside out and round and round. The new photographs captured on Sunday show Lively at an equestrian farm in South Salem, New York, with Ryan Reynolds. They kept a low profile as they watched one of their daughters compete in a horse show. Lively was wearing an oversized blue and white plaid jacket, a baggy blue turtleneck, light wash jeans, and brown leather pointy-toed boots. In other words, a far cry from the usual red carpet-ready glamour fans have come to expect from the seasoned actress. So they talk about the donut gate, the PR stunt. It seems Lively can't catch a break. It all means she's now constantly mindful of her actions, fearing that people will turn them into something negative. She's trying to protect her young family from scrutiny. Anyway, they talk about the Blake Lively Taylor Swift leaks where they're getting back into their friendship, which again, who knows if that's true. As the lawsuit rages on, Blake and Ryan have been trying to think about getting back some of their life they had before the allegations took over their world. Ryan was on a tremendous high with the success of his 2024 movie Deadpool, and Blake was living a pretty wonderful life herself. Whether it is found that they are in the right or not in the fight with Baldoni, this will have repercussions for years to come. As for friendships like Swift's now lost, Lively is also hoping for a revival of days past. Blake has actively tried to reconnect with friends who have been caught in the crosshairs of all of this, as she has been trying to get back a sense of normalcy within all the madness. So there's your article. There is your article. So back to normal at a high-priced horse event. It's good. Equestrian life seems nice. It seems very bougie. Either way, here's what cool mom Jamie had to say about this possibly being a PR technique for a soft landing into a settlement.
Like having, I guess, second thoughts, probably second, third, and million thoughts. What this is a soft launch that she might be withdrawing and pulling out of it, or at least settling, because I'm sorry, she has weathered blow after blow after blow here after she accused Justin, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, unjustly of sexual harassment. These videos get censored. I got to be careful. So the Stephanie creator broke down the article really well. I won't do that. I'll direct you to her page. But what I will color in for you is from a PR standpoint. Get ready for news that this lawsuit might be going away. get ready for news that there might be an undisclosed settlement. And I think that's also why we're seeing a lot of videos with a lot of content about Taylor Swift and her reconciling, because I think, I think that's what's happening. This is going away, and she and Taylor are cleared for takeoff. So.
There it is. Is it going away, or will this be messier than saying chicken jockey at a movie theater? We'll find out. All right, well, here's some wild news. Charges dropped for man arrested in Virginia accused of being the top MS-13 gang leader. Hold on a second. They're deporting people, accusing this guy of being one of the biggest gang leaders, and now they're not even going to press charges on him? This is what I talk about when I talk about due process. It's so easy to put someone on a plane and say someone looks like a bad guy. Oh, he's got a tattoo. Oh, he's got brown skin. These are the types of things that if you aren't trained to look at how you're being manipulated, you go, oh yeah, lock them up. We don't want bad people here. Because when you're dealing with the fear receptors in your brain, you're not dealing with logical thought. Charges against a man accused of being the gang leader have been dropped. Henry Josue Villatore Santos, 24, was arrested in Northern Virginia on Thursday, March 27th, taken into custody on an outstanding administrative immigration warrant, and was later charged with illegal gun possession. The DOJ filed a motion to dismiss without prejudice. Now, maybe this is enough to deport somebody, because if they're here and their immigration status is up in the air and they're charged with an illegal gun possession, I understand that. That's normal. Those are normal grounds for deportation. But to say someone's a violent gang leader and you're saying that gang is a terrorist organization, so that gives you a right to send them to a different country's prison, you can understand how this can be a problem. Due process is important, and we'll be fighting for it every step of the way. Here's an interesting clip. Speaking of White Lotus, which we weren't, but here's Jason Isaacs, Harry Potter star, and also full frontal nudity from this season's White Lotus, which was probably a prosthetic, but either way, a wild moment. Here he is talking about what the heck is going down in our United States of America.
You sat down, you were talking about how just like a worldwide phenomenon this is.
No, when I sat down, I went, how do you transition from killing people all over the world by taking their medicine away and then talk about a television show? But maybe there is some kind of segue because it's about rich people being selfish. I don't know.
All right. Well, you've done that very nicely here.
I want to know this. If you decided that Medicare wasn't working, would you shut down all treatment for every single person in America? Or would you go, let's review it while it's ongoing because we're saving people's lives? How do you take money away from the entire world, killing millions of people, taking their medicine away, and then go, we'll review it and we may give it back to you in a few months' time when you're dead?
Now Jason Isaacs plays a wealthy financial guy who's in trouble in the show White Lotus, right? And so he, as a British guy, comes and looks at our country and says, you're making all of these cuts to medical programs that the poor need, that the elderly need, you're making all these cuts. These are going to kill people. These are going to suck their soul away. This is going to drain the lifeblood of vast majority of the poor and the elderly and people that we should look after. And he comes from a country that has universal health care, and he goes, what the hell's going on over there? Meanwhile, we've already spent upwards of $1 billion bombing the certain Yemen organizations, and we clearly have the money to spend it on defense as that has gone up. We clearly have the money to give tax cuts to the ultra wealthy, as there's going to be $4.5 trillion. But when it comes to $800 million, which really comes out to like $7 or something like $20 per household across the country, we don't have the money for that. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And small businesses are now being impacted by the potential tariffs. There is a 90-day pause. We'll get into the conversation about insider trading next. But here's small business owner Kate Nelson talking about the impact of these tariffs, because even though there's a pause on the heavy tariffs, there's still a 10% tariff. Imagine if I took 10% out of your paycheck. What would that do to you?
I'm kind of, to be honest, as a small business woman, annoyed at the idea that people are talking about we have a 90-day pause, because I just want to point out two things. One, there's still 10% on everything. And 10% is not nothing. There are ways to help businesses in the United States. There are ways to help consumers in the United States. Tariffs are not the way to do it. And all he has created is the fact that we don't know what's going to happen. We are all uncertain. I was looking at a second location. How could I do that now?
You know, and the truth is with the tariffs is that they were never meant to bring jobs back because he was willing to pause them. They were just a negotiation technique. A negotiation for what? Is it worth the damage being done to all of our all of our relations with other allies, right? It's not like these are enemies. These are people we do business with. Would you want to go into business with someone that is a crook, that is going to pull back on an agreement? Because we do have trade agreements that have been pulled back on, and if you can find the chance to do business with someone else more stable, you would take that offer, and that's what other countries are doing right now.
The White House says more than 75 countries reached out to negotiate trade deals, and they'll be subject to a 10% tariff during the delay. But if an American company wants to import goods from China, it will have to pay 125% of the total cost in fees. That means for a product that costs $100, the business would pay an import tax of $125 on top of that, then decide how much to pass on to the consumer. Now, the U.S. imported nearly $439 billion in goods from China last year. That's everything from clothing to electronics to toys. And even products assembled here at home are sometimes made with parts from China, so those would be affected too. For now, it's hard to say how quickly these tariffs could impact prices, as many retailers have stocked up on non-perishable items. It could take weeks to months. The White House.
Yeah, but Amazon's already, canceled orders that they've made. And look, it's going to raise up the price of gift shop items at Trump Tower because all of their merchandise is made in China. So here is a breaking news story. U.S. politician Marjorie Taylor Greene bought the dip. Again, we talked about this dip yesterday. There were people that literally, because they're able to look at who's buying what. And there was some, they don't know the name of everybody. There was one person who put $1 million into a fund that by the end of the day was worth $30 million. They got a 30x return on investment. And the Senate and the House, they do have to say, what they're putting their money into up to a certain amount. And we're going to find that out over the next month or so, how much people made on this. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She made quite a fortune yesterday.
We have our first big name politician buying the dip, and that's Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a United States representative. On 4/4, she purchased $275,000 worth of stock. Marjorie Taylor Greene usually reports her purchases just a few days after, and so that happened on 4/7. I believe they have up to 30 days to report them. I'm going to post what she bought on the screen, her trading report, and I'm also going to list them off, some of the big names. She purchased Apple, Amazon, Berkshire, Caterpillar, Dell, FedEx, Impinj.
And the reason why this is interesting is look, I have all of my money invested in mutual funds like the S&P 500. If all the top companies in our country do well, I do well. That's the bare minimum and everything that should exist with Congress. They should not be able to invest in specific companies because, of course, their job is to, they know, the budget might include this new, type of rubber that we need. I'll invest in this company that makes that. And they'll know beforehand, they'll buy the stock, they'll be worth a fortune. It's absolutely ridiculous. So she invested $275,000. That's more than their yearly salary. Now, of course, they get paid in other ways because there's campaign financing issues and fundraising and dark money and all of that. But regardless if it's Marjorie Taylor Greene or Nancy Pelosi, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that they go into office to work for us. And they get extremely rich in the process. And we should be calling that out. Now, here's Donald Trump yesterday, after the stock market rebounded and did really well, bragging about how much these men made.
So he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
So it was kind of hard to hear because there's a lot of people talking, but he pointed and he said he made $2.5 billion today. He made $900 million. That being because the stock market rose by 9%. By the way, it has already gone down over 20%, right? So it went down a bunch. People, then bought the dip. And then especially those that knew the tariff pause were coming, because people bought the dip literally 90 minutes before Trump made the announcement. And then it shot back up. Now, today it's back down again, 4.5% as I'm recording this. What does that mean? It's like we have like a third world country level of rockiness happening in the stock market because nobody knows what the hell to do. How's any company going to reasonably invest in coming into the United States, not knowing if there will be tariffs or won't be tariffs? It's terrible for business, but it's not terrible for the people that know the game. Now, other folks have said, well, it looks like yesterday or a couple days ago, what's today, Thursday now, it looks like Monday, Trump might have set out some feelers to see if there would be a stock market bump if they paused the tariff, because there was a rumor a couple days ago that was leaked to the press that Trump was going to pause the tariffs for everyone but China. They denied it, but it still bumped the stock market up a little bit. So yesterday, when they announced all tariffs paused except for China, the stock market did a gigantic rally and people made money. But they made money. The money doesn't come from nowhere. The money comes from the people that sold their stocks, that were retirees, people that were like, oh, geez, I don't have 10 years to wait for this to rebound. I'm just going to sell off and cut my losses. Those cut my losses go into the pockets of Marjorie Taylor Greene, that guy that made $2 billion, and all the people that made quite literally like a couple $1 trillion yesterday. So again, there'll be folks out there that somehow want to do mental gymnastics and make this look like Trump's the genius. But as far as I'm concerned, he tried to put his foot down on policies. He blinked. They're calling it the art of the blink. And now he's trying to claim like this was his plan all along. Well, if this was his plan all along, wow. His plan was to take advantage of those middle-class investors and do what's called a rug pull, where they all buy the dip. They artificially crash the economy, and then they come in, scoop it all up, and bring it back up to a higher level. That's atrocious behavior. By the way, Martha Stewart, she went to jail for a $50,000 stock. $50,000. She was accused of insider trading. Over here, we got people making billions. Say it ain't so, folks. Say it ain't so. Hey, that's it. This story is going to go on for months as we find out who bought the dip and did so because they had knowledge that this was all part of the play. This was all part of the game. You want to buy my dip, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. If you want to put some bread in the tip jar, don't buy the dip, buy the tip. We appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for all your support. For everyone that gives us a 1-star review telling us we're anti-Semitic or we're doing the horrible things or we're on the wrong side or a libtard, I get called everything every day. For every 1-star review that we get, I get 10 5-star reviews from everyone out there. I appreciate the comments I've received saying, Dave, keep going. This is what the conversation we need to have out there. So thank you. Thank you for all the support. This might push some people away, but I think it's uniting a whole hell of a lot of people that we aren't going to stand for corruption, and we're not going to let people piss on our leg and tell us it's raining. All right, we'll see you in the morning. Thanks so much. I'm Dave Neal, and this is The Rush.